Folks, you know what time it is, right? I'm coming. You know what time it is. Another episode of Rudy Talks to you inside of a shelf. So on these splendid episodes, today we're going to just respond to some questions from people just going, Rudy, I'm gonna respond to some questions. And they're all over the place. There's not really consistency. So we're just going to have a conversation talking about different things that seem to be on the public's mind. So, first things first. Rudy, have you noticed collector boxes of all the new Magic sets seem to be... This individual is questioning the longevity of the Magic the Gathering collector boxes. Essentially, the individual is concerned that he's noticing wallet fatigue with the newer Magic collector boxes. If you look at the D&D collectors, the prices went from like $220, $240, $250 at the beginning, and they tanked to like, I don't know, $180 plus tax. So for most people, $190's out the door. Yeah, so, and moving forward, we're on the backs of the new Innistrad set coming out in next week? 2 weeks. 2 weeks? And the pre-order prices of these collector boxes is the weakest start for pre-order pricing that I've seen for any standard non-core set for a collector box since collector boxes have started 2 years ago. So, there seems to be... So, in other words, the general consensus is, Rudy, what does this mean? Well, I can tell you it means a couple things. If it continues in this path, and these collector boxes continue to just kind of dissolve and chug along, and they start having a problem selling, Wizards will pivot. That's one thing you have to give Wizards of the Coast credit for, is that when things fall apart, they will change. The thing you can't give them credit for is they're slow as balls to change. They literally will ride something to the dirt, and they all look around and go, there's a lot of dirt. Bob, should we change? I don't know, ask the other Bob. They'll go through 45 layers of management, and they will make a change, but it takes a long time, because the bigger the company, the bigger the Goliath, the harder it is to pivot that Goliath. That's why small business or small cap companies tend to survive and be more agile in a volatile world because they can adjust. I would say payroll, but you can't get anybody to work for you. They can adjust in size and overhead, and they can be more agile and nimble. You know, does that make sense? So overall, I don't think collector boxes are dead. Actually, my personal opinion, and I'm not proud to say this, I actually think collector boxes are going to be the cornerstone of future sealed box collectors and people who want to crack packs in 10 years from now. I think cracking a pack or a box of 12 Throne of Eldraine or Ikoria collector's boxes, or even Pharaoh's collector boxes, boy, those have come back with a vengeance. I think those are going to be the items that, I know it's stupid, but they're going to be like $500 plus a collector's box from a couple years ago. And I hate to say that because a big part of me wanted the collector box thing to cool off and kind of, so to force Wizards to change. But when it's successful and the product is moving, just like Secret Lair, they continue it, they increase it, and they kind of milk it until it doesn't go any further. They keep taking the ratchet and they click one more time. And I think the collector boxes are here to stay. I know it's not what a lot of people want to hear, but they're incredibly profitable. They're incredibly small, easy logistics, easy to ship. It's just everything about them works, and I expect that to continue. Rudy, I watched a Metazoo video with you and the owner, Mike, about a month ago. Okay, so he's asking about the sample decks that was in that video. Yes, I have some sample decks. No, they're not going to be for sale. I'm not going to open them. I'm not going to part them out and flip them. They're in the Rudy vaults. They're not going anywhere. Sorry. Don't expect me to open or sign or sell those. Next thing. How do you feel? Okay, so general question about inflation and overall collectibles are in a bubble type of thing. You guys have heard me kind of rant a little bit, and I believe collectibles as a whole are in a bubble. I agree with that. I also agree that real estate's in a bubble, the stock market's in a bubble, and your stepmom's in a bubble. I believe everything's in a bubble because that's what happens when the government prints endless amounts of money machine go burr. Do I think that means the world's going to collapse? And do I think that means we're about to fall off a cliff? I don't. I think we'll experience some volatility, as we always do, and then periods of calm. But no, something that a lot of people don't want to hear, and I'm just going to kind of lay it out there, is a lot of people fail to realize, coming from someone who lived my life through the entire '08 crash and was an actual licensed broker in '08, these major crashes do occur every 5, 10, 15 years. That's just part of our boom and bust capitalistic kind of culture. We just came out of 2020. And the exact same thing, I know it's not the best analogy, it doesn't line up the best, but let me give you my opinion. I could be wrong. My opinion is, when we came out of '08, when I was slinging real stocks and dressing nice and actually wore pants and I actually drove to a real firm to actually have a real job, '09, 2010, 11, and 12, I remember the following 3-4 years, everybody on a weekly, monthly basis kept saying, we're going to pull back down, we're going to crash again, the next crash is coming, we're right around the corner, crash, 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 we're coming back, don't buy into it, dead cat bounce, meow, meow, meow. And I hate to say it, the more things change, the more they stay the same. I believe post-2020, we are coming out of a tremendous crash. Yes, it was the fastest drop in recovery like ever recorded in history. I agree. But as we've talked about on this channel many times, collectibles in all asset classes move quicker. They adjust quicker. They drop faster and they recover faster, because that is the velocity of culture and speed and the way information travels in 2021. In 2008, things were not as fast as they were today. In Y2K or September 11th or the S&L crash of the 80s, savings and loans, Google it if you haven't researched. It's very important to learn about the S&L crash of the late 80s. Very, very important. You know, every time we experience the next crash, it's the rate of speed, the velocity of change, if you want to be all calculus and making a formula, the rate of change is quicker due to technology, news, and information spreads faster now than ever. So for people say, Rudy, it took magic 20 years to grow. Flesh and blood's a bubble in 6 months. Okay, I respect your opinion. And maybe you're right. And maybe you're right. Flesh and blood may be the biggest bubble. So remember to pause this video. This video is sponsored by myself, AlphainvestmentsLLC at gmail.com. Make sure you sell me your cases of Monarch for $800. Let me take the loss. I give you a shipping label. If you have cases of Crucible, again, 60-something cents on the dollar, depending how many you have. Sell me your Flesh and Blood first editions before it goes to zero in the bubble pops. Let me take the loss for you and your ex-girlfriend as she visits me on Sunday morning. Okay, but that's where I stand on it. I know we joke around, we have memes and giggities, but in all seriousness, yes, I believe everything is overly inflated. Yes, that's a real risk. But I'm sorry, but you gotta zoom out. I know the stock market's hot. I know real estate prices are high. I know collectibles are high. I know, oh my God. I know this really rough-looking box of alliances from like Rudy's. This was one of the boxes stuck in the washing machine by far. And we had to choose to get this one out of the washing machine or, you know, your stepsister, and we chose the box. I'm trying to be fun. It's just serious stuff, and some of it's depressing. So we try to have fun, folks. Come on, lighten up. You can click the thumbs down, but at least have a little fun in life. So coming out of the 2020 crash, folks, I'm telling you, we are not about to repeat 2020, and the stock market and real estate and collectibles are not about to go back to the lows that we saw a year and a half ago. I would like that to happen because that makes me an evil, terrible person, and the amount of money I can make would probably be stupidly perverted and inappropriate, but I genuinely don't think that's going to happen. I think it's important to be ready for any black swan event, but I genuinely think that we are going to continue to stumble along. Similar to '08, when I went through that firsthand, front row seat, man. The firm I worked for, we literally failed, and we had to be forced buyout by the federal government. I was there. I was sitting there. It was insane. And I can tell you, from '09 all the way before 2020, from 2009 to 2019, everybody said the same thing. And there were dips, and every time we dipped, everybody said recession. Every time collectibles dipped, everybody said reserve list is getting reprinted, going to zero, blah, blah, blah. But you zoom out from the last crash of '08 all the way to 2020, as a whole, anybody who stayed the damn course made a lot of wealth. Whether they made that wealth in buying Bitcoin at an overpriced amount of $1 a Bitcoin, they bought housing or real estate, even before '08. Even if they bought stocks, even if they bought reserve lists or magic or Pokemons and anything. The point of the conversation is you can't dictate your life by the what ifs. You know, a really, really wealthy person that I mentored under like 10 years ago once told me, because I used to always bring up my fears and concerns to this individual. And you know what the guy told me? He was an older guy. And he said, you know, Rudy, the funny thing about life is around 90% of all fears never actually come true. And I was like, are you making up statistics? Because isn't it like 100% or 95% of all statistics are made up on the spot? And we kind of had a good laugh. But it doesn't matter how accurate the statistic was. What mattered was, I genuinely think there was credibility, because I think he's right. The majority, whether it's 85%, 69%, or 99.69%, the majority of all of our fears never actually happen. So why should I live my life afraid of the next crash that may not happen anytime soon? Should I sit back for 10 effing years and just sell everything and hide in the fetal position underneath the Taco Bell dumpster, waiting for the membership subscription of Taco Bell? Oh wait, that actually is happening. I can't use that as a joke anymore. They're actually going to be a Taco Bell subscription. Okay, you can't live your life being afraid of things that may never happen. That's like saying you don't want to drive to work because you could get in a car accident. Well, of course you could get in a car accident. Well, you don't want to get in an airplane and go to Las Vegas because there could be something bad could happen on the plane. Anything's possible. But at the same time, the only way to guarantee nothing bad happens is literally digging a hole in your backyard, jumping in the hole, and pretending you're a carrot. And even then, a lawnmower can come over and chop your head off. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to die as a carrot by a lawnmower. I feel like that's all anyone's going to remember from this video now. Moving on. Okay, we're going to cut off after this question. I'm getting all wound up and ranty. So, let me... This is good. This is good. Question about fear, failure, being made fun of. So this individual wanted to start a YouTube channel. Oh, I'm sorry. This individual started a YouTube channel. I think it's a she. I think she started a YouTube channel about 6 months ago on collectibles and shut down the YouTube channel. Okay, I get where this is going. So, young lady starts a YouTube channel. Good for her. Unfortunately, it doesn't sound like it worked out good. She says she stopped doing YouTube because of the trolls, negativity, talking about her appearance, or, boobs, or people hitting on her, or just getting, nothing. She just says she took a lot of, insults, or just, it was a poor, toxic, whatever. And she wants my opinion on how to overcome and deal with that kind of stuff. That's actually a very good question in this video after this conversation on fear and inflation. This is actually good timing. I have like 70, 80 more questions from these other Q&As. It's out of control, man. And I like to use them every once in a while just to have a good conversation, since my channel doesn't grow anymore and I'm never going to have a 400K Q&A and a 500K. Well, poop on me, right? Did you say meta poo? Is it? I should make a shirt that says that. Rudy poo. Hashtag Rudy poo? Anyway, so let me just give a nice motivational Rudy slap in the face kind of conversation now. First we're going to do the bullet points of the Rudy PowerPoint slide. Bullet points. A, our culture thrives on failure and drama. B, our culture does not want to see somebody become successful or make money. Tell me I'm wrong. C, yes, people online, in comments, in anonymous emails, in anonymous message boards, will always be more vulgar and rude, abrasive, and aggressive because they're behind a keyboard, aka keyboard warrior. That is a common thing since the 90s in America Online chat rooms and Yahoo chat rooms. It's been going on since the dawn of time of the internet. Next, fourth thing. Just people want you to fail. Okay? For some reason, failure and drama and pointing out when someone goes down in flames, it's almost like a drug. It's like catnip. It's a weird, really weird, bizarre I don't even know how to explain it. Set of, how do I say this? It's just like people get off to it. I don't know. It's super weird, man. Like right now, I genuinely think there are almost an equal and or greater number of people out there that want, like, myself to go bankrupt or something to happen to me, or, you know, the up and coming card games, the Metazoos and Digimons and Flesh and Bloods and Dragon Ball Supers, and there's a huge chunk of, especially coming from the legacy or OG or original old school people, that want anyone new or younger than them to just straight up fail. Whether they think it's a scam, whether they just don't like the concept, maybe they don't like the people involved, maybe they don't like the culture, maybe they just don't like capitalism, maybe they're just unhappy. Maybe they came home and their dude or their chick left, or maybe they came home and there was, like, I don't know, something really inappropriate going on and they freaked out and they're just having a bad day. I don't know. But I can tell you is, you have to somehow work with yourself to try to find a way to navigate that. And I don't have a good solution to that. It's something everybody has to figure out a way to deal with it. Myself, unfortunately, I kind of try to glance and read a lot of the comments, especially on YouTube, but I read all the Patreon stuff and private stuff, but as far as, like, public comments, there's just too many, and I've got almost 3,000 videos. It's impossible for me to see everything. But you really can't let the comments and complaints and the negativity sway you from staying the course type of thing. I know it's just cliche sounding, but it really is that primitive, you know? It was kind of a joke where, you know, people always want a certain box of cards. Or let's use a good example. People always want a Black Lotus, right? People want something really expensive or rare, and of course, then you have some people say, no, I just want it to play. Okay, well, make a proxy. And you always have these different things, but the reality is, if you print something to oblivion, or you overdo something, it's just as destructive as the other end of the spectrum. And that's how everything in life is. Everything's like that. Any extreme perspective on anything is usually wrong. No matter what side of the coin you're on, politics, religion, all these dramatic companies and employer-employee and, you know, family or boyfriend, girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, that no matter what you're on, very dramatic, extreme responses never work for anybody. You could be investing on Wall Street bets, you could be buying a stock, you could be going to work, you could be having a conversation with your loved one or your family. Being aggressive, dramatic, or very extremely emotional is almost always the wrong path to take. And there are times, to go to the end of this video right now, this leads me back to the Rudy infamous concept. The market gets it wrong. People are wrong. And that's something that's very difficult for a lot of people to really understand. I know it's crazy sounding, and I think it's going to be our t-shirt for the Alpha Investments 2021, the market gets it wrong. The market's wrong. And that's something I've learned in my life about anything from just real estate to crypto to stocks to collectibles to people, to companies. You know, more than not, just because everybody views something a certain way doesn't mean it's actually right. You know, I've learned this the hard way in everything, man. Single cards, new card games, reserve lists, sealed boxes, you know, different stocks over the years. Some of the best money I've ever made was owning certain equities or stocks when the stock was down in the dumps because everybody said it was garbage and worthless and you know. Some of the people I know who've made some of the biggest profits is because they did the contrarian point of view. I mean, look what happened with GameStop in 2020 at the beginning of the year. People who bought GameStop for a couple dollars. Look what happened to people who bought Ford stock at $1 in 2008. I was a broker. I placed trades for clients like that. I placed trades for clients who bought 100,000 shares for $100,000. I placed trades for clients who sold their mutual funds and bought all Tesla stock at like $80 a share, pre-stock splits. which would be equivalent to today, God, I don't know, what, 5, 6, 7,000 a share. You know, I've been there. I've seen what happens when analysts say it's a sell or it's wrong. I've seen what happens when people think a card is worthless. I've seen what happens when people say the reserve list is going to be reprinted tomorrow morning. I mean, does anybody remember when Wizards announced Masters 25, the theme set you've been waiting for? Anybody remember that? And literally, I even made a video saying everybody was right, reserve list is being reprinted. Because all of a sudden, this Timmy mentality was, all the reserve list cards are being in Masters 25. It was the weirdest thing ever. Like, it came out of nowhere and just spread like wildfire. And reserve list cards started dropping. And I remember being contacted at that point in time. I had a huge uptick and people selling me collections. And I was like, you know the reserve list is not going anywhere. Are you sure you want to sell? Yeah, I need to lock in the profits. It's 2017, 2018. Reserve list cards are all-time high. I got to get out, Rudy. Bazaar Baghdad just broke $1,000 a card. Rudy, I know you're only paying like 70 cents, or I think at the time, 65 cents on the dollar. So I need 650 for the Bazaar. It's 1,000. Will you do it? I got 4 of them. Okay. Are you sure? And emotion drove these people to maybe they needed the money, which is fine. Maybe they did something better, like bought Bitcoin or something, or they bought a business or bought real estate back then. I don't know. But I can tell you, now looking back at all that, they were all wrong. The market as a whole was wrong. And that's kind of the thing. So the young lady who started a YouTube channel and quit because of just negativity and all these just toxic stuff and everything, I'm sorry to hear that. I think you should have stayed the course, because I think you probably would have been successful if you were already getting a lot of comments and people were discovering your channel and starting your channel. That means YouTube was recommending it. That means the algorithm was being favorable to you. That means you were probably onto something. And yeah, and just a friendly reminder before we wrap this video up today. This channel took off because everybody spread the channel in 2016 on Facebook and Reddit to make fun of me. That's the reason the comments in the views went from nothing to spike and being shared. And then when that happened, the algorithm thought I was making crazy good content. So then the algorithm picked up my YouTube channel in 2016 and started recommending it to all the Magic and collectible channels. This channel only worked because people ridiculed it. Have a great day, folks. Remember that. The market's wrong.